Russia versus Ukraine. Two armies, one war, and a conflict that refuses to end. When the war between Russia and Ukraine erupted into full-scale conflict, many observers believed it would be short. Some expected overwhelming force to decide the outcome quickly. Others assumed modern diplomacy would prevent a prolonged catastrophe. Years later, the war continues. To understand why, we must look beyond headlines and examine the two armies themselves, the nature of their power, and the systemic forces, military, economic, and political, that keep this conflict alive. This is not simply a story of one army versus another. It is a confrontation between two very different military systems, operating under radically different constraints, motivations, and strategic realities. 1. Russia, a military built for scale and endurance. Russia possesses one of the largest and most complex military forces on Earth. Structural strength, vast manpower reserves, large stockpiles of artillery, armor, and missiles. A military doctrine shaped by centuries of large-scale land warfare. Russian military power is rooted in mass. Its strength lies not in precision alone, but in the ability to sustain continuous pressure over time, absorbing losses while maintaining operational momentum. Firepower and reach. Russia fields long-range missile systems, strategic aviation, a massive artillery arm. This allows it to strike deep, disrupt infrastructure, and maintain constant threat across a wide front. The cost of this power. However, Russian strength comes with limitations: heavy logistical demands, complex command structures, dependence on industrial-scale supply chains. Russia's military is dangerous not because it is flawless, but because it can continue fighting even when conditions are unfavorable. 2. Ukraine, a military forged in necessity and adaptation. Ukraine entered the war with fewer resources, a smaller army, and limited heavy equipment. What it developed instead was adaptability. Organizational transformation. Since 2014, Ukraine's military has undergone rapid evolution. Decentralized command, flexible unit-level decision-making, integration of modern intelligence and reconnaissance. Ukrainian forces operate with a doctrine that prioritizes speed, local initiative, and resilience. Human factor. Ukraine's greatest military asset is not hardware, it is mobilization of society. High levels of civilian support, strong morale tied directly to national survival, a population fighting a defensive war on its own territory. This transforms military resistance into national resistance. External support. Ukraine also benefits from training assistance, intelligence sharing, advanced defensive technologies. This support does not replace manpower, but it multiplies effectiveness. 3. Why both armies are extremely dangerous. Russia is dangerous because it can escalate gradually. It can sustain prolonged attrition. It possesses strategic depth and nuclear deterrence. Russia can lose ground and still remain lethal. Ukraine is dangerous because it adapts faster than expected. It fights asymmetrically. It imposes high costs on every advance. Ukraine does not need to dominate everywhere. It only needs to make occupation unsustainable. This dynamic creates a battlefield where neither side collapses, but neither achieves decisive victory. 4. Why the war has not ended. Military stalemate. Neither army can fully eliminate the other's capacity to fight without an unacceptable escalation. Political constraints. Russia cannot easily withdraw without strategic and symbolic loss. Ukraine cannot concede territory without undermining sovereignty. Any compromise appears existential to both sides. Economic reality. Russia endures sanctions but maintains war production, redirects trade and industry toward long-term conflict. Ukraine relies on external economic support, converts its economy into a wartime survival model. Both economies are strained but not broken. 5. The role of global politics. This war is not isolated. It intersects with NATO security architecture, European energy markets, global food supply chains, the credibility of international law. Major powers are involved indirectly, creating strategic restraint. Enough support to prevent collapse, not enough escalation to trigger global war. This balance sustains conflict without resolution. 6. The human cost of prolonged war. As time passes, the war becomes less about territory and more about endurance. Civilian displacement, infrastructure degradation, psychological trauma, generational loss. Long wars rarely end with victory alone. They end when societies reach exhaustion or transformation. 7. A war without simple endings. This conflict persists because both armies are capable, both states are committed, the international system is divided. The cost of stopping is, for now, perceived as higher than continuing. Russia and Ukraine are not merely fighting each other, they are fighting time, identity, and geopolitical gravity. Final reflection. The danger of this war does not lie only in weapons or armies. It lies in how modern conflicts no longer end quickly, how economic systems adapt to destruction, and how political narratives harden over years. Russia's strength is endurance, Ukraine's strength is resilience, and as long as both remain intact, the war remains unfinished.